anything that night that you think you did wrong?
No, absolutely not.
Fired from the Hampton Fire Department. He is one of 8 firefighters injured after a flashover ignited at a Hampton apartment complex last October.
Our News 3 Investigates team got a hold of the citation from the Department of Labor that fined the city almost $20,000 because of that incident.
This morning, investigative reporter Margaret Kavanagh talks to the man who claims he was targeted by the city for being a whistleblower.
I haven't been near this complex since the fire.
October 21st, 2022, an electric blanket sparked a fire at the Township and Hampton Woods apartment complex. Lieutenant Knick was in charge for the first few minutes of the chaotic scene.
We need water now. Charge the hydrant.
He's one of 8 firefighters burned in a flashover. A mother and daughter also burned.
This is the first time I was like, I had a close call and it really hit home.
Miraculously, no one died. There was an outpouring of support.
These fire crews were heroic.
I wanted to take a moment tonight to really applaud the heroism of our Hampton firefighters.
But things changed. The lieutenant got a letter of termination from the city of Hampton in March of 2023, months after the fire happened. There were 12 reasons outlined in their decision, stating that he broke policy in several different ways, including not establishing a command post and not doing a 360-degree walk around the entire structure.
If your loved one was trapped on the 3rd floor of this building and you saw the firefighter get off the rig in the middle of the night and walk completely around this building while they were up their stairs burning, I don't think you'd be happy as a citizen.
Knick blames the major problems that night on having only 3 firefighters on his truck instead of 4, saying he was constantly speaking out about staffing shortages.
So that night, against policy, we dropped below minimum staffing.
Soon after the fire, the Department of Labor opened an investigation. They didn't cite the city for staffing shortages, but they did fine them a total of $20,000 and outlined several problems that they identified. Remember this?
Yeah, we need some water. We got a water supply established, just need a charger waiting on your driver.
Knick and another firefighter inside the building were not getting water in the hose. The Department of Labor stated in their citation to the city that the 3rd firefighter back at the truck was, quote, inadequately trained and that he failed to properly charge the water hose line, resulting in no water reaching the entry crew. And he was not on the correct tactical radio channel.
It's the city's responsibility to make sure that there's proper communication channels.
A letter to Knick from the city states that entering the structure without a charged hose line and protection was one of the most egregious decisions. Dispatch said there was no one in the apartment where the fire started, but Knick says when he showed up, people at the complex told him differently.
I know in the report, they put out that says that I entered a fire apartment without a hose line, but I entered a fire apartment with the report of people trapped in that apartment. I was going in to try to find them.
The Department of Labor also found fault with Knick entering the building because he couldn't monitor the structural conditions, ensure the water was working properly, and give progress reports and other information to the battalion chief.
Sometimes you try to second guess yourself, but I gotta tell you, at the end of the day, at the end of all this, if I had to do this 100 more times, given the information I was given at the time of dispatch, there's nothing I would do different.
The city issued a 72-page report in April outlining issues like how those on the scene failed to control the path of the fire, went in with no working hose, and other issues with gear. The city says it would be inappropriate to comment on most of the questions that I asked because it concerns a personnel matter, but says the report they issued speaks for itself and was reviewed by a peer review panel unaffiliated with the city of Hampton, which confirmed the city's findings. We asked the city why Knick was praised immediately following the fire. As part of their response, they said, quote, in the aftermath of the fire, the city was concerned with supporting its injured and recovering firefighters. At the time, none of the investigations into the fire had been completed or even initiated, and the city had no reason to think there had been any wrongdoing. The city continues to support the other members of the crew who acted under Mr. Knick's command. We've reached out to the local union president from the fire department. He said one person was held responsible for the issues during the fire. He said no one was held accountable in upper level management or took any responsibility.
Not one fire chief, not one fire officer, not one administrative leadership in the Hampton Fire Department has sat down and asked me what happened.
He says he was interviewed by a city employee from risk management, and there was a representative from the fire department there. Knick says he has 25 years of experience and has never been in trouble before. He feels his termination was retaliation for constantly speaking out about staffing shortages, problems with gear, and other safety issues.
They got firefighters hurt and civilians got hurt because of it. And the music stopped, and I think that they're just looking around the room trying to find someone to blame other than themselves.
They found a scapegoat, and they picked the one firefighter who had been most outspoken about their persistent understaffing of the fire crews.
Knick has filed a grievance with the city along with the Department of Labor for being a whistleblower, fighting for his job back with the help of his attorney. He says they saved lives that night and stands by the decisions that he made.
Say there would have been someone still in that fire department that wasn't accounted for. And I chose just to shut that door and leave it. And then during overhaul, they find a body. You know, I'm kind of damned if I do, damned if I don't.
In Hampton, I'm Margaret Kavanagh, News 3.
Now, we have continued to ask the Hampton Fire Department to do an interview with us after their report, the citation, and when we told them we were looking into Knick's case. They denied all of those requests.
You can read their full statement and learn more about this investigation inside Margaret's story on WTKR.com. All right, it's 6:40.